Jordan trying to shake off Starks. Oh, what a move!
LeBron James with no regard for human life.
Final seconds. Bryant for the win. Iverson against Gill. The crowd on its feet. Allen for the win.
Welcome to the Sneaker History Podcast.
What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Sneaker History Podcast. My name is Nick Engvall. I'm with my guys, Mike and Rohit, to talk about a lot of playoff basketball sneakers, probably some WNBA sneakers we definitely have to touch on. This might be a hot take to start the episode, guys, but I honestly think the WNBA shoes surpass the NBA shoes in just overall. I'm into seeing them. I think, I know there's the aesthetic side that people just pick and choose what they want, but like I'm more interested in seeing the shoes from the WNBA now, at least right now in this time, than I am what would normally be like playoff basketball, where we're always talking about a new colorway, a new this, that, the other. So,
yeah, I think whatever it is about the, dare I say, signature women's product, even though like it shouldn't, like most signature product now, knock on wood, Nike's done a great job making it unisex. They're taking more chances. Like, I think I don't know if it's a complaint. I'm not trying to throw shade or smoke at anybody, but it seems like the men's line, especially, we're entering in the Kobe-fication of that, where everything is trying to have some sort of lineage to a Kobe 4, 5, and 6, which I think if you ask most people, that would be considered the holy trinity of Kobe's performance shoes. And everything kind of has that same silhouette. There's nothing wrong with it. And even in the women's side, like I still think the Sabrina is probably as tasteful of an homage to the Kobe while still kind of doing its own thing. But I'll use the example of the Asia too. Like that looks like a shoe that would have come out in the 90s. That would sit right next to a Grant Hill 2 or a more up-tempo. But what do you think, Mike?
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat as you. I think I was gonna say the exact same thing. When it comes to the men, we have a lot of similarities when it comes to swoosh. The women are a little bit more diverse in design, so I can see where Nick's coming from, being more excited to see those. I will say, along with the women's Nike product, I'm still excited to see what's being done with Adidas product as a whole, Adidas Hoops. I think they're doing a fantastic job of differentiating. We got our first look at was the Don. Good Lord, was it 8 now? 9? I can't remember what number it is, but we got that first look.
8, yeah.
And Harden's are still nice. I mean, Edwards is out of the playoffs now, but his shoe, of course, is his shoe. He's been doing a great thing with not only his signature, but his takedown model as well, which he played a couple of games in. So I think there's some great stuff out there. I think basketball is definitely having a bit of a resurgence. I think once the Nike men's side catches up and becomes more designed based on identity of the signature athlete, not again Kobe-fied, I think we'll be in a definitely a renaissance of basketball as a whole, basketball sneakers, that is.
I will say this, and we'll touch on this as we inevitably talk about the men's side, and especially as it relates to the backdrop of the NBA playoffs. But it was refreshing to see Kelsey Plum be one of the many spokespeople for the Believe That one, which I think this is also Adidas's first attempt at taking a proper takedown model. And you guys could let me know if I'm completely wrong, but I just don't remember any takedown model, whether it be Nike, Adidas, Puma, getting the pub that it's getting. And that goes to the viability of Anthony Edwards as a spokesman, as a charismatic person, as the ultimate compliment we can pay is we wish he was our friend. So that's why we tend to gravitate towards him and his persona. But
I think you're right.
I think that it's definitely the first time in this generation, like we're in a completely new space for basketball shoes. And I think it's spot on that they're doing the takedown stuff and putting money behind it, right? Like the price of shoes is just absurd. I know that the brands need to make money. I know that the retailers need to make money. I know how it all works, but like if I'm a 16, 17-year-old kid wanting to play basketball and I'm looking at a $200 LeBron shoe or a $90, Believe That one, like it's just a no-brainer to get 2 pairs of that versus 1 pair of LeBron. I don't think that pricing is spot on, but like it's pretty close. Like if you pay attention and get them on sale, you could get 2 shoes for the price of the kind of standard pinnacle shoe from Nike. And that's not anything against Nike, right? Like that is just like a jumping on the, economics right now, the tariffs, all the other shit that's layered onto life for us all, as we were briefly discussing. But I think, like, kind of circling back to the WNBA stuff, the thing that I just wrote about this, and I'm still like I still keep thinking about it, and it's like, and I tried to put this in the newsletter this week to talk about it, but like, what I can't stand is that we haven't given the women's game the full marketing blitz, like no person gets the same thing. And I saw this hot take on LinkedIn that I was tagged in about, Caitlin Clark is the next Jordan, should be the next Jordan shoe. They should treat her like Jordan and give her all the stuff. And like Nike's failing because they haven't put a shoe out. And I'm like, on one hand, of course, she should have had a shoe well before this, right? Like, but like, that's not the biggest crime in WNBA sneakers. Asia should have had 4 signature shoes for all the MVPs and titles well before. And like,
thank you for saying that, Nick, because I think I don't know what it is about recent sports discourse, but their topic around faces of the league now is kind of vaulted. Ring culture is the most annoying thing that I run into and bump into as a sports fan in terms of what I want to listen to, what I want to consume.
Yeah.
And to your point, Nick, Asia Wilson is probably the best face of the league I can think of across global sports, not just American sports, not just women's sports, global sports. She truly is aspirational. She truly is inspirational. Knock on wood, she has never done anything to anybody that has warranted a modicum of conflict or criticism. She seemingly is the princess that was promised, or the queen that was promised, in terms of she's welcoming to any and all. Like, growing up, I idolized point guards because I was not that gifted vertically. Irony of ironies, my daughter, who is at the 1% of height in terms of, she's a shorty. We like to refer to her as a little bowling ball because she was at 1.99% weight. But Asia Wilson and Wemby are her 2 favorite players. And that's something to be said about the fact that every time she sees Asia Wilson is welcoming. She is hospitable. She never lets anybody think that she is above them or they're beneath her. Like, that's what you want. And to your point, I really wish she was around in the 1990s, and maybe Nike did this with Lisa Leslie, but I don't think so. Like, the way we are making stars the way that we are now, Asia should be that gal.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I think they just.
Oh,
go ahead, Mike.
No, I think it's one of those better late than nevers, though, because I know that on one hand, I 100% agree with you guys that she should have had it way earlier. But on the other hand, I'm glad that they didn't rush it because the shoes seem to be pretty well received amongst everyone. So that's a good thing. And typically, people like to pick and poke and prod, especially when it comes to the women athletes about their product. I mean, although Sabrina shoe was loved and that was one of the most played in sneakers we saw, it was related to a Kobe for the longest time. It was like, oh, she's a Kobe 4, she's a Kobe 5. So what they did with her, I like that. Again, even though it took longer than it should have, I completely agree. You got something that is now, when you see it, it's Asia. And with her, just, again, her personality and her, being decorated as she is within the sport, I think it's the perfect. I think it's a launching pad, especially as the WNBA is becoming more popular, increasing, maybe markets. So it's a good time, even though it didn't come when we thought it should have. I think to press along for a long run with Asia and her shoe and just being a pillar in just sports in general.
I mean, let's not give the WNBA too much credit here because they still have not brought the Sacramento Monarchs back, and we won a title. Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, we got the comments back, so I guess I'm a little bit.
I love the WNBA, but I'm also still butthurt from 20 years ago.
We got a couple of Tisha Penichiero truthers on this podcast.
Exactly. But seriously,
she was Williams before Jason Williams.
The thing about the Asia comparison, and I think people that are consumers don't understand this as much, but like, it's a battle to get these things to happen within a company, right? Like, you know, we look at Nike and we see those moments of like, oh, restock the Panda Dunks. You're just printing money. But like, there's a battle internally to make money and have the creativity and have the freedom to try new things, to put money towards things that are not proven. And the problem with women's sneakers for the industry, basketball sneakers, I should say, is that nobody has taken the time to prove the model correctly, right?
Yeah.
Like, it is always a secondary thought. It's never given the quantity to put the numbers on the board that you need to have for it to be an ongoing thing. There's never been enough marketing budget behind it. There's just always been this, like, there's always things that don't get done properly. And what I was writing about was that somebody was saying, you should be comparing it to Jordan, and Caitlin should be the next Jordan for sneakers. And it's like, that is like, I think that I don't know if it's just like being a part of this stuff, but like, comparing anyone to Michael Jordan is corny at this point. Like,
Yeah.
if you look at LeBron, and this will be a hot take for people, but like, if you look at LeBron and what he's done and what he's still doing at his age, like, you just can't compare the two in statistics. You can't compare the two in the things they've done outside of the game. Like, I get that people want to compare things, but like, it's so criminally ignorant to compare Michael Jordan to any signature athlete at this point, right? And I don't
But
think people understand how far off that is to just say you can apply the Jordan rules. I actually have the Jordan rules on the shelf over here, oddly enough.
Sam Smith.
Not the Jordan rules, but like the Jordan sneaker rules. Can't be applied to anyone else. Like, it was a different time. It was a different, we all watch the same games. Like, we can all watch any game we want right now. When Jordan was on, we all watched WGN. We watched every Jordan game we possibly could. And that was about the only game that was ever on TV. It wasn't until after that TNT started picking up more, and you're watching NBC on Saturdays, but you're always seeing Jordan because he's the guy you wanted to watch then, right? And I think that's like the craziest part about like the women's basketball shoes right now. Like, whoever decides to actually do this right, like, we have decades of formulas to show how to market shoes, how to create great shoes. And the shoes already are. There's so many great basketball shoes out right now. I think people are sleeping on a lot of the shoes, and like, you're going to see a lot of people going back and getting shoes from this era to play in.
Oh yeah.
Because they'll be inexpensive. They've been overproduced for the trend that is basketball. That's like, needs to have that wave that Mike's talking about, where it becomes a renaissance again. But like, it's so like just frustrating to me to see these takes that say, like, comparing Caitlin and what her sneakers can become to Jordan. Because another thing that I should say that people don't think about is, when Jordan was around, they weren't trying to sell, more Kevin Garnett shoes. They weren't trying to sell more Pippen shoes. They weren't making Michael Jordan wear PE Kobe's. You know what I mean? Like, they're Nike is a massive company compared to what it was. And they have a lot of business units that need to move units, that need to sell shoes. And part of that has been Caitlin with the Kobe line for a long time, right? Like, obviously she's played in that for as long as most of us can remember, and rarely wears anything else. But like, that in itself is like part of the equation that needs to be solved. And I think the women's basketball shoe market should be the place where it's solved. I think like it can be like, very successful if one of the brands, it doesn't even have to be Nike, because to Mike's point, talking about Adidas, man, if Adidas turns something around and all of a sudden has, like, an affordable shoe that has that aesthetic that, they've kind of like leaned into the last 3 or 4 years, that's going to make a lot of young girls want to play in Adidas shoes for a long time. And, I think what we were looking at in, the late 90s, early 2000s a lot of the Adidas shoes of that era didn't have a very defined aesthetic. Like it was very generic Adidas, 3 stripes, bring back a shell toe of sorts, like you had the
Yeah.
Pro Model, which is a great,
models.
the Pro Model 2000, whatever it was. Great shoe to play in. I think everybody probably got a pair to play in at some point.
Yep.
But like that was the only shoe that you could look back at and genuinely think, yeah, I'd love to see that again, or I remember that fondly. The rest of them kind of fell off because Nike's visual took over everything, and then you had like the other brands that came in, and the and one kind of we're going to do a little bit smoother than them, like all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm rambling. I'll leave you guys with thoughts there.
No, it's interesting, right? Like, let's go back to the Adidas side of things because we've been very Nike-centric, right? We just talked about the fact that I forgot who the young player is in the Believe That All-Stars, but I'll focus on Kelsey Plum. I'm anticipating there's going to be some sort of Kelsey Plum colorway for the Believe That one. And if nothing else, it borrows from that Nike playbook of, okay, let's drum up interest on a player by marrying her, and apologies for using this kind of contrived and hackneyed cliche of women in marriage ultimately leading to their success. But let's marry her to something we know is successful, which is the AE line, with the hopes being that whets the appetite, that then eventually when we do give her, in this case, Kelsey Plum, hypothetical situation, her own shoe, there's a history there. And more importantly, to Nick's point, there's a thematic thread. So if tomorrow my 4-year-old says, you know what, I love Asia Wilson, but now I also like Kelsey Plum, you can kind of have those teachable moments from the 101 of the Believe That one to the 201 of whatever player edition she may get of the AE3, because there's a logical escalation of that to then getting the Kelsey Plum one for Adidas, whenever that is, if that is to be. I think one other thing that we'll kind of touch on, and everything kind of frames back to everything we've known about sneakers has always been through the masculine perspective, right? Like Jordan, Iverson, Kobe. And as much as we'd like to say that the Swoops or the Leslies of the world had the same counter space, lack of a better term, as it related to capturing shoes' attention, especially in the hearts and minds of young people, it's always been a male-dominated conversation. Now, that being said, what I want to kind of take from all of this is when we look at how the Asia shoe is evolving, how the Sabrina shoe is evolving, we're getting there. But this is still kind of a sign that there is a toxicity associated with it. But in a way, toxicity is progress, because now the things that used to seep into American male basketball culture, i.e., to Nick's point, everybody gets compared to Jordan, especially if you're a black man. But now, knock on wood, we're seeing the cross-generational and cross-gender comparisons and cross-racial comparisons, right? Because you can make the argument that Asia should also be viewed at the same lens as Jordan, the same way Nick's subliminal on LinkedIn was, where everybody's like, okay, this is the easy thing to do because she's a easily identifiable basketball player. For whatever reason, Caitlin Clark may be easily identifiable, but we've got a long way to go. But in a way, the toxicity that we're kind of seeing kind of lets me know we're slightly headed in the right direction, because now the same things that plagued us are plaguing the women's game. And that, to me, kind of indicates that it's getting accepted, which is ultimately what we want as fans, is we want the women's game to be viewed at the same level as the men's.
Yeah. And I think the women's signature game can have a chance to correct what the men's done wrong. There should not be a signature athlete, 2 per team. There's too many signature shoes out there. It dilutes the allure, dilutes the level, you would expect a signature athlete to be. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, yes, Austin Reeves is a great player. Far be it for me to ever put some kind of cap on his game, but he's not a signature athlete, I don't think. I could keep going down the list. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, again, great game. I don't think of him when I think of signature athlete, and I think what the women are doing now, you got Asia, you got Caitlin, you got Angel, you got Sabrina, you got Stewie. What was that? That's
Yep.
6?
Yeah.
And more importantly, 3 brands or 4 brands that are being represented.
Yeah.
And it's not just everybody's shoe brands are just trying to get people off of Nike. They don't care. They'll give you signature, which I'm glad Adidas doesn't do that. They have 5 signature athletes, 4 signature athletes total with basketball. It is where they can, and with these other brands, they're being able to give this, again, design that is outside of the normal. Oh, look at our team shoe. Look at our signature. There's a divide. There's a line. And I think the women's game is doing that because they're not oversaturating that market, which brings, again, people in. I can go like get to Asia. I can know it's super different than anything else out there, and I can connect it to my favorite player or whoever that may be. So I think that the WNBA, if they keep that course, will be able to help the men's side of things again correct themselves for the future because we just got to tell people, hey man, we just get to cut the signature line. It's not working. What's the point of overproducing all these shoes? Plus, team shoes like the GT line, for example, now it's just shoes everywhere. Like Nick said, they're just being overproduced at this point.
Yeah, the GT line is actually something I wanted to ask you guys a little bit about, right? Because I can't remember what shoe that Karl Anthony Towns is wearing, but watching the game the other night, like he's obviously got like a PE Knicks colorway of it's I think it's the
It must be the jump if I'm remembering my GT. Yeah,
jump.
Oh,
it is.
Okay.
Yep.
I can't remember the difference between the three of them, and that's
There
part of
was
like the challenge,
the
right?
cut, the hustle, and the jump, and I think
Yeah.
the cut is no longer with us, or
Yeah.
it may have gotten morphed. But keep
No,
going,
the-
Nick.
And it
cuts
makes me
here.
wonder where that crossover with the women's game happens on the team level, right? Because to Mike's point, like I don't think everybody needs a signature shoe. Like I think that everybody needs PEs,
Mhm.
but like we haven't seen a lot of marketing behind the GT line outside of the first big press release. And obviously if you're watching enough games, you start to notice them. But like there hasn't been like a marketing push behind it. And I think the same thing kind of there's like a secondary level of athlete in the WNBA that also doesn't benefit from the marketing that was normally behind, I don't know, like a Hyperdunk or a Hirachi 2K4 or whatever
Yeah.
those are, where you just knew they were everywhere because everybody was wearing them and everybody's talking about it. It was buzzworthy. It was in the magazines, all that stuff. And I don't know where that lands moving forward, but I feel like there should be some overlapping in those shoes and the storytelling with it. Not necessarily that I know that the PEs do happen and I know that the colors do happen already, but the storytelling behind them almost just is non-existent in the, outside of the, brand worlds, right?
Yeah, it is. And there's an opportunity missing right now. I mean, because Wemby's wearing the GT Cut 4 at this
He's
point.
got a player edition
Yeah.
that's inspired by a Jaguar of all
It just
things. I
dropped.
believe.
Yeah.
It dropped after game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, and Nike did a great job of kind of that follow-up to AE's ad with the alien and the fan.
Yeah,
Great.
we were talking
But
about that.
why
That's
didn't we
great.
tie that to the shoe? There's so many opportunities, like tied to the shoe. Old Kobe ads were using a Hyperdunk before he got his own signature shoe. There's so many other cool things out there that, again, there's missed opportunity because these shoes are still $200.
Well, let me ask you guys this. The status quo line of basketball shoes is that big men can't sell sneakers, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't even know if Wemby can be grouped into the big men conversation.
No, dude's a freak of nature. Just hit a 30-foot dagger in a game.
Yeah,
like he
like
Steph
watching
Curry'd
him
them.
watching him play, I can't imagine that he won't be, at the top of the league for years to come.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. And to me, he's enough of a diverse player that he should be able to sell sneakers.
Oh, yeah.
He should, but I think, Nick, the other thing is, what do we know about Wemby? Like, what we know about Wemby is he's a cultured person. He may be the world's most interesting man if he's going to Shaolin monks, if he's a big sci-fi head. But, and I'm not trying to disparage Nike. Have they told us that, or have they let others do the heavy lifting, the ESPNs, the press releases, the whatever? And maybe this is part of the reason why we don't get the commercials and the print ads that we used to. Like, I remember pontificating with both of you guys that, like, my favorite part about the NBA playoffs outside of the basketball itself was the advertisements, right? Like, that's where we saw stuff like Nike Freestyle. And then when you'd have supplementary things like Slam Magazine, you would see the print ads there. Like, that was also something cool. Like, one of my favorite Slam Magazine moments is, do you guys remember when they took out, I believe it felt like a 23-page ad in the Slam magazine, and every page was dedicated to some sort of Jordan iconography. And then
Yeah.
at the same time, the next month when you were reading Slam's reader mail, everybody was talking about the fact that I actually had to buy 3 copies of this particular issue because I could get that 17-page or 23-page or however many pages it was. And that's where I think it's a sign of how things are, where us as fans now are required to do the heavy lifting in terms of finding out about what makes our favorite players tick, what are their interests, what are their likes, what are their dislikes. Whereas previously, we almost always had that curated for us. So to your point, if Wemby came around in the 90s, I think he would get more traditional big man marketing materials associated with him. Like, I'm sure there would be some sort of commercial where he would be hilariously out of size when he's like doing something with little kids or little old ladies, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Nowadays, just because all of us have our own camera phone, that kind of serves as an indicator into people's souls. Like, we do all of that and we figure it out. And then Nike just says, okay, we're just going to release this player edition. It has a tie to an animal that I guess you could kind of attribute to Wemby. But like, there's also a thoughtlessness that I think exists now as it relates to storytelling, which is essentially one of the cruxes of this conversation that we always have every 2 weeks or so.
Well,
Yeah, and it's well beyond sneakers, right?
Yeah.
It's not even just a brand thing. It's not even just a sneaker thing. It's just a general like consumer, like also before I let you talk, Mike, the other thing that I'm thinking about as we're talking about this is like, the 12, 13-year-old kids don't want anything to do with social media and the internet right now. They're
don't
like
blame 'em. Don't
hard.
blame 'em.
We just saw a young someone walking around with a old Sony Walkman and like the like foam headsets, not even like the like normal.
Hey, take me back,
old
dude.
school ones.
Mr.
Yeah, and, like,
Walkman.
Take me back.
like those are the kind of things that like I think are coming. Like I think there's like a huge pushback. I think
Hey, let me get my Game Boy back out. We're doing that.
right. Like it's going to be interesting to see how all that like reinvigorates a lot of the things that we loved about the storytelling, the marketing, the magazines, because I do think that there's even thinking of like sneaker stores, like it's cool to buy something from the sneakers app. It's cool to buy something from any app, right?
Yeah.
To just have it show up at your door. But like it's so much cooler to walk into the employee store and walk out with something, to walk into the outlets and walk out with something, to go with your kid, to go with your nephews, to go with your friends.
Yeah.
Because that's what made us, like I think back to like shoes that I lined up for, like, and I hate lining up. Like I only lined up a handful of times.
Yeah.
Like I remember every single one, every person that was there with me, every time we were like bummed out and then got lunch afterwards. Those are actually what makes sneakers like so incredible to me,
For
are
sure.
those memories. And like my hope is that we're kind of like almost coming full circle with it, right? Like the industry needs it to survive, but also people need to connect with other people for us to survive as humans with all this other chaos that's in the world. So
Yeah. No, I mean, and it's tough. I mean, I think Rohit said it best. It's just that with the devices we have access to, social media we have access to, brands as a whole. I don't think it's not just one. It is. They rely on us to do our own, emotional attachment to a sneaker. I mean, that's literally what it is. They're like, hey, attach yourself to it because you saw this on Instagram or Twitter or whatever it could be. And there's just so many cool things. I mean, I'm sticking on Wimpy because it's just him. I mean, back in the day, you would have got some old school like martial arts movie commercial of him like in the Shaolin monk or some old alien style movie. Like
Chamber
there's
of
so many-
Fear 2. Or Chamber of Fear
Exactly.
2.
Yeah, like you would have got something like that. It's just we're left to our own devices to a degree to create the story and sell it based on what we feel. And that can be good or bad. It can be good in the sense that we all have our own identity to the shoe, but it can be bad because, well, it's to the point of the brands are just pumping out items that no one
Mike,
cares about.
if I may, go with me on this thought exercise. You and I had exchanged texts about how we like Wemby a lot. And granted, that's easy for you being the biggest San Antonio Spurs fan in my life. But at the same time,
My wife, wrong person.
no, that was a deep cut for people that have been with us for a while. It's one of my favorite running jokes. But anyway, going back on topic, you and I talked about Wemby. We think he's awesome. We think he's the greatest thing in basketball since sliced bread or the pick and roll. But at the end of the day, let me ask you this. As a proud father of 3, is your son
4.
into Wemby?
Yeah,
4, sorry.
Yeah.
Who am I to doubt the greatness of Mike? And more
Trust me,
importantly, Brittany.
my wallet knows
More
how many
importantly,
kids I got.
Brittany, it's Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's
Right?
Day.
She did the work.
But like, and maybe I'm being sexist about this, but I figure your girls may not be of the age to have the awareness of Wemby the same way that Davion might. Like, is he clamoring to watch the Spurs games with you because of the fact that A, it's his mother's allegiance to a team, but now also he may revel in this amazing player with you?
No, he's no connection to Wemby. In fact, it's kind of funny because he would sit and watch a Rockets game with me before a Spurs game, so I always counted it a small victory in my home.
There you go.
If you're listening, like we just saw this, just flush of pride come over my face. As you said that.
And not only that, I will be calling Child Protective Services. How dare you? I would much rather that kid grow up on a steady diet of Castle and Harper than KD and Sengun.
To be fair, he would be better for it. I mean, I can't even lie to you. He would be much better being a Spurs fan. But I'll tell you, right now, he is more into, there's not a particular player that gets him like, oh, I want to see this. But he just started kind of getting the F1 because we're like looking at like cars and stuff. So he's kind of like dipping his toe in there because it's something different. You get more storytelling around F1. There's so much about it right now. We started tennis lessons not too long ago, so he's been into that. So we've been looking at old like film with like Rafa, showing him stuff with like some of the newer guys with like Alcaraz and Sinner. And he's more into that. Of course, he's always loved soccer. So
that's what I was going to ask, because I know that he loves soccer, and I'm sure he has a guy or a gal or a couple of guys and gals that is like, with the World Cup coming up, like, is he going to be a big Lamine Yamal fan? Is he going to be a big Kylian Mbappe fan? Like, that's where I'm trying to understand that to the point we made very early in this episode, which was, hey, basketball seemingly is having a resurgence. And part of me wants to make sure the resurgence is occurring on its own and is not a byproduct of the clear football resurgence that's definitely hit this country, because the amount of retro jerseys and kits that I see anywhere and everywhere now, like, that is real. Like, and I mean, we may not be able to talk about it in this specific episode, but even like the recent drop of the Polaroids that Nike is kind of indicating where their creative direction is heading. Like, I'm not a Virgil Abloh guy in terms of like, I have no opinion about him. Like, he's great. He had a great influence on a lot of people, but I'm excited to see what is coming up with the U.S. men's national team, the same way that Pata is doing with the Netherlands and a couple of these other country and design collaborator concoctions are happening. So like, that's where those things where I'm always trying to figure out, how do kids get into something? Because I know that the playbook for us when we were little was you do your research, but we live in the gilded age of doing your own research, as a lot of our parents and their political preferences may or may not tell you. So we have to kind of make sure that we set good habits. But I'm rambling. Go, boys.
No, but friends on a bus. So if I remember, I got into basketball when I was a kid because of Space Jam. My dad took me to go see Space Jam. And then seeing the last couple of seasons of Michael and Kids on the Bus. That's how I got into basketball. Like, hearing about Allen Iverson for the first time. Like, I got to know what this is about. And now I feel like basketball is making its way back up because you're going to get all these storylines with it. But other sports have become that on the bus talk. Like, again, F1, international football. Basketball is creeping back in there. This is it's making a resurgence, but it's not the topic of conversation just yet, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, we'll just tease the next episode as being World Cup conversation, because to Rohit's point, man, there's so much cool shit coming out. Like, I mean, Nike just dropped the like
crypto
kind of
shop video.
Yeah, like
Air Max 90s.
Content stuff is coming out. The Adidas just put the 94 like denim stuff on the site. Like, it's just like, I hate to get so sucked up in the commercialization of sport, but God, I love it.
Oh yeah, dude. There's a whole 94, like there's a t-shirt and some shorts I've been looking at. I'm like,
Yeah.
I got a
Yep.
discount code. Should I do this? Should I pull the trigger? Do I need
You should, Mike. Here's the thing: your discount code will always expire, but your yearning of high quality product will not.
But see, that's my thing. So the conversation Rohit had earlier on the phone today, I was like, look, I want either the Tempo or the Hypervenom Air Max 90s. I'm trying to hold off
Yeah.
because everything's expensive right now. No one's buying these things, so I have a chance to sit and wait patiently. But at the same time, I went to Adidas site, just like Nick said, the whole 94 USA kit dropping, like that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Korea's
good.
kit from Nike's dropping in a couple, I guess sometime maybe
No,
this
some are
weekend.
out already. And
Yeah.
so,
Well, they don't
Mike,
have the non-player one. Like I want the cheaper one, dude, the $100 one, not the $175. And it's so nice. And it's just too much. I was like, dude, there's too many soccer things I want right now, and it just
Mike, here's a couple things. So
I'm just
I have a
crying. Let's
confession
see
to
it.
make. I have a weekly tradition that whenever I drop my daughter off at daycare, it just happens to be 3 minutes away from the employee store. And I always go on the employee store. The Hypervenoms were there, Mike. They're on discount. And to your point, we're living in the golden age of being frugally responsible.
I'm trying to be
Because
responsible.
if you go on your favorite Nike.com, whether the discount's not there, so I'm trying to help my man be a better man, which is not giving that coupon until the discount is there. But let me tell
And I
you,
appreciate you for that because I would have made bad choices. Like, but anyways,
go where the discount code is. I know I'm supposed to be a company man, so to speak, but above all else, I'm a friend, and Mike is a dear friend of mine, and I don't want him to get hit with a chancleta because, speaking of which, it comes from a proud Black and Latino household. And I know that this is my plug for the Kids of Immigrant stuff, which whenever we do have the World Cup stuff, and we didn't do rocking or copping, so this is my plea to the sneaker gods. Please let me hit on those T90 mules.
right?
Those things are clean too, man.
Yeah, they are.
Anyway,
I
but
don't
yes,
think any
Mike,
of this stuff is so
I'm looking
nice.
out for you. The minute that goes to discount, the coupon will be in there, and yeah, I can breathe easy now because I've been having to carry that this whole episode. Is that I bought those Hypervenoms at discount.
Hey, I'm not even mad at you again. I appreciate it because you know what? I'm not trying to. I was telling another buddy of mine, like, I'm not trying to buy this full price, so I'm gonna hold off. And
No.
my thing was this: I'm like, I have Father's Day coming up and my birthday. It's like if someone just happens, my
Stack
kids
those
want to pull together.
coupons. Stack them.
Exactly. It's like, hey, wife and kids. I mean, you can just build one gift. I don't even need two gifts for each holiday. Just give me one of those. We'll call it a day.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
man.
funny, listener, because I woke up this morning and the first thing I got was a text message from one Michael Jerome Guillory. I'm not sure Jerome's his actual last name or middle name. But it just sounded nice.
It sounded
Which
it flowed
now
nicely.
going forward, now I feel kind of sensitive. Like, why is the brother got to have Jerome as a middle name?
Look,
So
that
when
has to be a running
Nicholas
joke
Jerome
now. I like
Engvall,
that.
yeah, I got a text from Mike like,
Engvall.
hey man, he's very appreciative, very humble. It's just like, can I get this? And I was like, Mike, don't do it just yet. The coupon's not there. And then because I was in that post-morning days, I realized there was like so many spelling errors. So I was like, I've let Mike down professionally. I've let him down personally. So this
knew
is
what he
my
meant,
mea
though.
culpa, which is in front of the thousands of listeners that we have to say that I will do better, Mike, one way or the other. I will
No,
do
man,
better.
you did perfect. I understood exactly where you're coming from because I looked when I texted him. I was like, it's definitely 5 a.m. where he is right now. That's my bad.
It's all good. You're on you break the do not disturb protocol. So I was like, if Mike is calling.
I was like, crap.
All right. So before we wrap, I want to circle back to the NBA playoff shoes, right? I did think it was interesting. I forget who now. Somebody from the Cavs is wearing a pair of AE2s regularly. I'm not sure who it is.
I will
Crap.
do some Googling. You guys keep glamming though.
Which I find interesting because you're playing, like, obviously you're playing with Donovan Mitchell. Like, you could be wearing your own
Just don't
guys.
like your shoe, man.
too.
It's just like, oh, your shoe's trash, bro.
But the, like, the Spida, the Don 7 is what
8,
he's
I
playing in,
believe.
right?
Well, he's switched to 8 now. He debuted to 8 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and this is super nice. It's like the Spider-Man colorway. Super nice. And when I see those, I'm like, any Adidas person I know, I'm like, if you want to slide a pair over here,
Yeah.
We need 4. We need 3 and 1 delivered in secret.
Yeah, but the thing
So
is, the Cavs are Team Adidas for all intents and purposes, right? Like both of their
yeah,
guys are Audi guys.
Yeah.
So to your point, Nick, it's like if you are getting free marketing around what I would argue are Adidas's top 3 silhouettes in terms of the Harden, the Don, and now the AE, like maybe they're like, hey, you know what? We know you want to wear the Harden or we know you want to wear the Don. Could you actually wear the AE too so we could get the whole product catalog out there?
dude, yeah, you got them in the conference finals. You got to showcase everything you got. If you have this 90% Adidas team, was it Garland? Is it Darius Garland?
I was looking for it too. I don't see it.
I'm not looking. I'm just thinking now. I'm like,
Is it that handsome Max Strus, who is the apple of not only a Bachelorette contestant's eye, but apparently Charles Barkley wants to give it a poke, so I'm not mad at you, Chuck.
oh my god.
So I'm just wondering, like, the where you guys see the NBA playoffs from a sneaker lens, right? Because that was where I was headed. Is like Adidas has like kind of the best team, I guess,
Yeah.
out there right now, that like across the board you associate the brand with the team.
Yeah.
Where like even though the Knicks are mostly wearing Nikes, I don't think I don't associate it in the same way. Maybe because it's
It's all PEs.
yeah,
It's
it's
like,
PEs, it's
yeah.
Kobe's, it's a lot of like
It is all PEs, but to me, like I look at it from the perspective of this, right? We've got 4 teams left in the finals. So one team is got, dare I say, the entirety of the Converse basketball department. He's no longer just the face; he's everything, and that's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
The whole company.
The whole basketball portion of the Converse line.
Yeah.
But then, and the jokes kind of write themselves. I thought I saw the other day that one of the referees was wearing the Shea 1 in the all black colorway, which I thought was hilarious, which I was like, let's feed those rumors and that narrative some more, that he truly is the team of officials or
Team
the
Shea.
officials. So there's that. And then to your point, Nick, we talked about the fact that Wemby continues to be a problem not only for the competitors he faces on the court, but the companies that are trying to market him, because they still kind of don't know what box to put in him. And that's like the joy about watching Wemby play. He's not going to fit into any traditional box that we've ever thought of. Big man be damned. Like he's just that unique of a player. The Knicks, for me, like we said, we've got the Karl Anthony Thomas thing, but I would say this: out of all the NBA disciples that Kobe has inspired, I'd say Jalen Brunson is kind of the Caitlin Clark of it all, because I would say he's gotten the most player editions of Kobe's in recent memory. And I think that is the imagery that I forever associate with this current playoff Nick run. Is he constantly is wearing his own player editions. He's debuting new player editions. He is truly a Kobe guy that doesn't get spoken in the same reverential tones as the likes of a Devin Booker or Kyrie Irving did in the past. And then, yeah, we've kind of made the point that Cleveland represents the 3 stripes in more ways than one, which is something because historically that's a LeBron team, and that's been a LeBron part of the country, but now it's very much Adidas. So I think that is where I would say the 30-second elevator pitch of each team's sneaker identity as it relates to this NBA playoffs is. And that's your breakout moment. So whenever we need to make a clip.
Perfectly. You summed it up perfectly, dude. Yeah, I gotta jump in a second, but no, I think before I leave, like my final thought before I leave you guys is, Roy, you summed it up 100% perfectly, because it's almost like these territories of like almost this kind of ganglands, the way it's all set up, where you got Nike in New York, Adidas in Cleveland, and then Midwest, Texas, the South. We have no real identity because they don't know what to do with Wemby, and then with Oklahoma, I guess Oklahoma because everyone else hates them now. You got Converse in basketball because that team went from Cinderella, oh my God, they're amazing, to I hate your guts real quick, and they're now the villain. Like the Shea shoe is now the villain shoe at this point, to where people love it, but it's not getting the same, oh my God, this is amazing, during this back half of the NBA now because they figured out how Oklahoma plays. It has become this like, I don't know. I just almost kind of like this
it is the vilification of a team that, for all intents and purposes, we, given their pedigree, should have loved, but they've taken the darkest timeline and implemented it as their main timeline. That being said, tangent aside, did you guys see those snakeskin Shea 1s? Those look sick.
Pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, those are pretty sick.
Embrace the villain.
around you.
Yeah.
I got the white pair behind me. They're super cool, super comfortable. Just again, it just took a dark turn real fast once people were like, hold up. A lot of fouls are being called. So
Yeah, definitely. All right, y'all. Well, let's wrap on that. I think, okay, last one word prediction. Who's winning the title?
Les Spurs.
I think the Spurs are gonna win. I just want them to beat Oklahoma. That's it. I think they'll win. I think the Knicks are gonna nick it up and end up, getting to the finals and then tripping and stumbling, getting swept some kind of way. But whoever comes out the West.
Yeah.
Who you got, Nick?
Don't put that on them. I need the Knicks to win this year.
Look, man,
It's the only time I will root for the Knicks to win.
History says a lot, right? And we know how they act.
Yep.
Yeah, here's the thing. New York fans are very boisterous. I'm trying to be very nice about it.
Yeah, you're being really nice about that.
Whatever love affair they would have or they currently have with Cat, if they play the Spurs in the finals, Cat is going to get traded midway through the first game of the series.
Oh, yeah, they got to let him out. He got to leave. He's got to go.
See,
For his own safety.
I'm selfishly rooting for them because I just want the Kings to realize that they should have never fired Mike Brown.
They should have never fired Mike Brown. They should have never let De'Aaron Fox go. They should have never let Tyrese Halliburton go. I'm sorry, Nick. Yesterday I was getting food at a food cart, and there was an adorable boy wearing a royal purple Kings 4 jersey, and I just wanted to give him a hug. And be like, it's going to be okay.
Bring it in.
Like, who did this to you? So I'm calling Child Protective Services on them as well.
Yeah.
Got you down, guys.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks for rocking with us. Leave us a review. Let us know what you think about the finals. Who's going to win? Any thoughts on WNBA shoes, postseason NBA shoes? We'll get into World Cup in the next episode a little bit deeper, but we appreciate y'all, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Hey, Nick here again. Before you take off, I want to thank you for listening to the Sneaker History Podcast. If you want more insights into the sneaker world, I've started a newsletter called the Sneaker Newsletter to share my knowledge of over 2 decades experience working in the footwear industry. You can find the link below or go to thesneakernewsletter.com. Last but not least, tell someone you like their kicks today. You never know how far a simple compliment can take you, and we all know how good it feels to be on the receiving end of some appreciation. Thank you for all the support, and we will catch you on the next episode. Peace.